Cheap LED light versus expensive LED light. For 10 years, I've been struggling to make films. I've tried to make stuff I believe in, but I'm always let down. Instead, I've decided to document my life and struggle to create. So it can be really difficult to know, because there's so many lights, which one to choose. And I think a general thing that I think about is to try to get the best possible bang for buck. Like if I want huge lights for daylight, I go and rent the stuff that I need. Or if I'm in a huge studio, I would rent additional lighting and use my own stands and that sort of thing. But then when it comes to traveling and everything, lights that are efficient and small and all that is really important, which is why I have gone towards LED lights. So previously I carried around Fresnels. I've had all different types of lights basically that I've used in how I shoot. And one thing that changed how I work is really when I got the Wescott LED light. So maybe you're wondering what's in the Wescott Flex light kit. I'm gonna tell you. Ta-da! A light, daylight. Power. Dimmer. Extension cord. Grip. Diffuser. And a D-type cable for battery powered. That's it. The way I work with lighting is that I come to a scene, I look at like, okay, so this is the lighting that is, in this place right now. How can I kind of emphasize that and make it more beautiful or more interesting, or, to support the narrative and all that. You basically balance out what's already there. Either, by removing light, closing, covering windows, that sort of thing, or add light to make it look better, or to just make it more moody, for instance, which often has to do with the story that I'm trying to tell. It's now put in a softbox over there, and it's a softbox over here. Both of them are Wescott 1x1 lights. And then up in the ceiling, I have a cheap Trevor light, which is basically nothing special. It's really cheap. It's the same thing, but it's about this big and something like this in width. And the thing is that it costs, I think, 6 times as little as a Wescott light. So I wanted to show you like which one I think you should get and what to think about when you're getting a cheap light versus an expensive light. So what's in the Trevor light? LED panel. Stuff to rig the LED panel to. A little bit bigger. Thing to wrap it around, because these stick to everything otherwise. Diffuser and weird other thing. Power. Weird handle that you will never use. Straps. And a bag. Stuff they should have included. Filter, so that the light balances. That's it. Side note to the build quality. Stuff gets loose. I don't know if this will be found, but it's gone for now. Build quality is totally different when you use an LED light that is a professional expensive light, because they've put in much more thought into the material and all that. With the cheap one, often the calibration when it comes to color temperature is way off. So what you have to think about is to, hopefully you can try them out, or you can order one and test that. And also Google around to see like the light that you're looking at, is it a good one or not? Because the lights that I've got, I actually saw that, okay, this is good enough, I can order it and then try to balance it, which I did. So now this light in the ceiling and these two balances. But then I had to add a filter on top of that, which is a green filter to cancel out the magenta, which the cheap LED light from Trevor has much more of. So when you buy an expensive light, you mostly get stuff that is really high quality in the lighting quality. So you get big output, and you get balanced lights. With the cheap ones, you might not get so lucky. You might get totally off in the color temperature, which is the case with the travel light. As soon as I got the Wescott lights, I was just blown away by the size of it. It's so thin, it's so good to pack in your bag. The only thing that I really dislike is that the power charger or the power outlet thing is so big for, the rest of the product, which is super slim and all that. It's super stupid because you have a dimmer that's like this big for a product that's, virtually a piece of paper. Doesn't make sense. But with that said, it's a super effective product. I really love it. I have used it so much while I've been traveling. I've used it so much in the studio. Of course, using an LED panel, you get a lot of spill light. So I try to use like these soft boxes that I have over here, or, you try to grid them in some way. It's not the same as a spotlight, and it's not supposed to be, but I like them, and I like the soft lighting that I usually use, to combine with the natural light. And that's why I also choose to have an LED light that is only 5600 or daylight temperature, because then you get more power out of the LEDs. So some people like to get the ones where you can switch from, tungsten to daylight. I prefer not to. I've had those types of LEDs too, but they lose a lot of power because they're putting in, 50% of the tungsten and then the daylight ones. So you lose a lot of output from that. And I don't like that, so I rather put filter on, and then, you lose the same amount of light basically. So I'm fine with that. Like most stuff I shoot, which is documentary, is with additional lighting. But with the Pearl of Africa, in a kitchen scene interview that I did with Cleo, I had to add lights outside of the window to make it seem like it's daylight, because I didn't want it to feel like it's nighttime, and it was nighttime that we were shooting it. So I had to add lights outside, I had to have lights in the kitchen just to make it look more natural, to blend in with the rest of the story that takes place in the daytime. If you're interested in getting something that really works, it's well balanced and all that, go for the Wescott if you have the money. If you don't have the money, don't feel bad, because the travel lights are great. Like if you have the travel lights, you're not going to be disappointed with anything but the build quality maybe. The build quality isn't 100%. I would say it's 70% maybe. So, feels like they might break or something. And they're a little plasticky. But when you mount them and you use them in a proper way and you take care of them, they're not going to break. They're going to be fine. But you need to add the green filter to compensate for the magenta that it outputs more than it should. Another thing that I love about the travel lights is that you have a remote control. It looks like this. And you can push a button to shut it off. You can push a button to turn it on. You can go up with the dimmer and go down. And you can actually program so that you have more than one. I have actually two that is programmed to be in one. And then shut off, turn on. Like super easy. And you can program a lot of them. For me, this is a huge thing. Like I love this. Just to bring this little thing and then to be able to control all of them. Like that's amazing, I think. It totally depends on how you're going to use it. Like the Wescott lights, I love them. But I have two. I probably won't get any more of them. I'm probably going to order some more travel lights, because I want to have some permanently here in the studio, and then I want to move around with the Wescott lights. Because the Wescott lights, even though the dimmers are big, they're much more durable and can take a beating. So those are easier to travel with, because I can just throw one in my bag, just right next to my laptop and all that, and it fits. So how do you work with lights? Let me know, and what type of lights are you using? Like, recommend me any LEDs or anything that you like. If you want to buy the lights, I'll put links in the description. Alright, see you next week.